All right, Jacob Cordero here, CookwareJunkies.com. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. This is our incredible edible egg episode. Everybody loves eggs. You can use them in so many different ways and fashions. So what we want to do is take a look at some of the 6 top-selling egg cookers and put them all to the test. And first of all, see if egg cookers are in fact a good ideal solution for cooking eggs to an alternative to the traditional methods. And then also which ones excel and do the best. So cooking a hard-boiled egg seems pretty straightforward. It's been, something that we've seen our parents do and our parents' parents have done their whole lives. Just drop an egg in the pot and come back and you have hard-boiled eggs. Well, so many times when cooking an egg or trying to hard-boil an egg, you're finding different challenges in mostly babysitting and making sure that you have, the correct temperature, that you have the correct water ratio, that you have the correct cook times, the correct utensils. One of the biggest challenges with a hard-boiled egg is that the white and the yolk, they set at different temperatures. So on top of that, you can't actually see what's going on in the egg because of the opaque shell. Not to mention, all those challenges factor in when you're trying to do like a soft or a medium boil. The difference between a soft and medium boil is very small as far as cook time is concerned. So you leave it in a minute or two too long, you have a medium egg, and instead of a soft one, you're going for a medium egg, leave it in like 2 minutes too long, and you have practically a hard-boiled egg. So the idea between these egg cookers is to take all the guesswork out of it and to be able to just drop it in there, set the timer, come back, and voila, you have a perfectly cooked hard-boiled egg. So here's the 6 egg cookers we're going to be taking a look at today. I'm going to go ahead and list them for you in order by most affordable to the highest price point. So we're going to look at the Maximatic, the Dash, the Hamilton Beach, the Mueller, the Copper Chef, and the Cuisinart. So those are the 6 that we've rounded up as being the top sellers, the most popular egg cookers that people are purchasing. And like I said, throughout these tests, we're going to do a series of 4 different tests. And so if you actually want to get the data from all of the results on our test, all the details, and take a look at a full article, click the link below. You're going to actually see there that there's also a way that you can purchase these egg cookers. So if you make the purchase from one of those links, that actually helps us continue doing these videos to support us. And of course, make sure while you're down there you subscribe, like, and all that other good stuff. So throughout the test series, we're going to be doing a hard-boiled egg test, a soft-boiled test. We're going to be doing omelets in the ones that can do omelets. We're going to be poaching eggs in the ones that can do a poached egg. So the way that these things work is you basically take water, add it into the cooker, you poke the top of the egg in most of these, you drop them in there, you set the timer, put the lid on, and then by the time the timer goes off, basically all the water's evaporated and you have yourself your perfectly hard-boiled egg or soft-boiled egg, or at least that's the idea. And so like I said, some of them are going to do the poached egg, some of them are going to do the omelet, and so that's really what we want to see as well. Can a cooker that's working based on a boiling process or a steaming process actually yield an omelet without any, direct heat? So each one of the tests, we're going to come back after we're done with the test, and we'll provide you with our overall 2 cents on it, give you some type of rating, and then at the end, we're going to come back and explain any kind of ergonomic features. We'll recap some of the big highlights from the testing that we're going to do today in our kitchen. So this way you'll know, like, if you're going to purchase one of these, and if it's something that you can actually rely on doing what it says, which one actually you would be looking to purchase. So if it comes out that none of these things do what they say they're going to do, then in fact we'll report that to you, and there won't actually be a winner to our selections because all of the cookers will come back as not recommended. So again, look down below. There's going to be some links. If you want to just kind of skip through to the end of the article and get the results, you can do that. There's some clickable links to give you like a table of contents down there. And again, while you're down there, like, subscribe, and all that. And then we'll be back in just a second and take you right into the kitchen and take you through this entire process over the next 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, thanks again.
Hi, Nate here for Cookware Junkies, and we're running our first tests on the egg cookers. The first test here is hard-boiled eggs. Your number 1 job with these things. We're first going to load them all up to maximum capacity and run them just like they say in their manual to make hard-boiled eggs. At the same time, we've got a control group going. We're going to put eggs in a pot, cover them in cold water, bring them to a boil, rest them off heat, put them in an ice bath, and then peel them so that we can compare. We're going to be judging these on the quality of the eggs. I want to see a fully cooked egg. It should be cooked all the way through, both the white and the yolk, but it shouldn't be overcooked. It shouldn't smell sulfurous or be super crumbly or rubbery. We're also going to be judging them on the time they take. Along the way, we'll also be judging just how well they work. Are they easy to use? Are they tough to load? Are there any weird surprises we find along the way? Stick around and see how the hard boiling goes. Alright, Nate back here for Cookware Junkies with the results of our hard-boiled egg test. We put all 6 of these through their paces, filled them up to their maximum capacity, and tried to make some hard-boiled eggs. We also had a pot on the stove doing it the old-fashioned way, so we had something to compare to. Running through them in order, the Cuisinart had problems. It went a long time, the eggs all blew out, and when it came time to taste them, they were sulfurous and disgusting. The Dash produced some pretty good eggs, but all of the bits of it were really hot. We had to go in and use a pot holder to actually get the eggs extracted. Pay close attention to this one here. The Hamilton Beach produced okay eggs, but its biggest problem was condensation. Condensation built up throughout. It got a lot of water on the counter, and worst off, condensation right here under the handles was a surprise burn when we went to actually pull these eggs off. Eggs produced were alright, but not worth the burn. The Maximatic had a lot of water underneath and was very easy to use. Unfortunately, it overcooked the eggs. The Mueller here produced the best eggs of the test. They were the ones that measured up with our control group, but it had its problems too. The biggest one is this piercer right here. This rack here is fairly flimsy, and when it's fully loaded with eggs, you go to put your hand on it, and ta-da, you stab yourself in the finger. Produced great eggs though. Finally, the Copper Chef here does a whopping 14 eggs. They came out pretty good, smidge overdone, and that's putting it up to the maximum amount of time listed in the manual. So that's it for our hard-boiled egg test. The best eggs came from the Mueller, but it's probably not worth the pain. The plan here is we're going to load up each one of these cookers with 2 eggs and cook as directed. In the case of all of them, as per the manuals, that's going to be about 6 to 7 minutes, and we're going to compare that to our control group, where we boil a pot of water on the stove, put the eggs in off the heat, and let stand covered for 6 minutes. What we're looking for here is a white that's completely opaque, but no more. It should still be pretty jiggly and not rubbery at all. The yolk should be thick, warm, but still completely liquid. We're going to try it both as is and on some buttered bread. Alright, we're back here with CookwareJunkies.com working on our test of electric egg cookers and finishing up the soft-boiled egg test. We ran each of these with two eggs, and we got the results from all of them. Starting with Cuisinart, they came out overcooked. They had a whole ring of cooked yolk around the liquid yolk, and that was a little too far. We also found the same problem we've had before. With the Cuisinart, you have to reach down right next to where the steam is going to escape to pick up the lid. That's burned me twice now, and I expect it's going to do it again. The Dash was our big winner of this particular competition. It put out 2 eggs that were just perfect. Our next one was the Hamilton Beach. We had the same issue as before with a lot of condensation, although since we didn't have to reach under where the condensation was, there was no burn this time. It came pretty close with a white that was a little overcooked, but a really good yolk. Perfect on the toast. The Maximatic was a little problematic. It came out a little undercooked with some liquid white and a barely warm yolk. That is not up to the standard of breakfast, although it might be alright in some soup or something. The Mueller has the same problem as the Cuisinart. You have to reach down right next to where the steam is going to come out, where it's really likely to burn you. We also got the most surprising result from the Mueller, 2 eggs. One of them was just right, and one of them was undercooked. Can't explain that, but it's strange. Finally, the Copper Chef was just a little undercooked this time. The white was still a little bit liquid, but the yolk was great, especially on the toast. We're wrapping up the omelet competition of our electric egg cookers. We had 4 of these units that could cook an omelet, or so they say. Let's take a look at what we got. The Cuisinart produced a giant overcooked puck of scrambled eggs. That was not an omelet. We're talking very bad casino buffet eggs. Barely edible. The Dash did worse. They were not actually cooked all the way through. There was a giant pile of raw egg on the bottom. The top part was tasty, but overall inedible. The Maximatic here produced something that was a little bit better. It was overcooked, but not too overcooked. Scrambled eggs, definitely, and not an omelet. But it was almost food. The Copper Chef was the best of the lot here. This produced reasonable scrambled eggs. They were okay. Not an omelet, but reasonably good. All in all, I would say definitely pull out the skillet and do this one yourself. All of the poached eggs use these little accessory trays that sit on top of the steamer trays, and we'll put these through their paces and see how they go. We're down to 5 here. The Mueller, which you've seen in our other tests, does not do poaching. Now, when it comes to judging this, a poached egg is a lot like a soft-boiled egg, but minus the shell. It should have a similar quality to it. It should be opaque and fully cooked in the white, but not overdone and rubbery. The yolk should be thick and warm, but still very liquid. We'll try it both by itself and with some toast, and we'll try them all up against our control group, where they're going to poach in a pan full of liquid. We took the 5 units that could poach eggs, the Mueller does not, and tried them out with 2 eggs apiece and compared them to our control group. Running through the list, the Cuisinart can produce 4 eggs, but they were little triangular hockey pucks and they were quite overcooked. The Dash can do 2 eggs, and bizarrely enough, we got one that was great and one that was rather undercooked. Interesting problem. The Hamilton can do 3 eggs. They came out about over medium. They were a little overdone. Might be able to beat that with adjustments somehow, but that's not the question we were asking. As always, the Hamilton is great at burning people, and it got me again. The Maxi can do 2 eggs, and this was a complete failure. They were so underdone I couldn't even pick them up with a fork. So, bonus, I didn't have to try to eat them. And then finally, the Copper Chef probably produced the best eggs. They were overall very good, but with a weird shape that made it so that they were undercooked a little bit in the middle and overcooked on the outside edges. Now, one thing we've got to knock the Copper Chef on a little bit is the instructions are very vague. It's not clear exactly how much water is supposed to go in, and there is no indication on what the time is supposed to be. So we gave it 6 minutes like the rest of them, but you got to keep an eye on the eggs and actually pull them out at the right time, as opposed to the others where it tries to time it for you.
All right, we're back from our day of testing, and we're here to give you the final results and our final take on whether or not these egg cookers are something that you should go out and purchase. And so what we found across the board on all 6 of our cookers is that while some exceeded in omelet cooking and poaching an egg, ideally their strengths is definitely going to be your hard-boiled, medium-boiled, and your soft-boiled egg. I want to just kind of go down the list and just recap real quick through our testing today what we've discovered and what we've found through each one of these cookers. So our biggest surprise in the 6 egg cookers that we took a look at today was the Cuisinart. The Cuisinart came in at the highest price point of all 6 of the cookers, and when we unboxed it, the quality was there, so the expectations were very high for the Cuisinart. It started out on our hard-boiled egg test where you saw water begin spewing out of the top. Overall, the hard-boiled egg it produced was very poor. The time it took to produce it was almost twice as long as the other cookers, which was part of the reason probably why it was also overcooked. When it came to soft boiling an egg, it did its job pretty quickly. However, the egg was in fact overcooked. So then when it came to poaching an egg, it did just about as good as the rest of the models in our group. And then of course the omelet was just, you know, horrendous. Overcooked, buffet style, as if you got out of the hotel bed too late and headed down for breakfast to get the leftovers. Overall, the ergonomics, we had a problem. First of all, with that aluminum top, that pretty much burns you every time you go to grab it. It's strange in the way that some of these were designed, in that they know that you're going to go to grab it as soon as the timer goes off because you're trying to remove the eggs out of the heat so that you don't overcook them. However, some of these don't give you the best methods to actually remove the lids and access the eggs. So again, when it came down to the overall quality of the product, it was on point. They came with the egg holders, and it came with a measuring cup that was uniquely marked to tell us exactly how much liquid we had to have in based on if we were doing a hard-boiled, soft-boiled, omelet, or poached, while a lot of the other cookers basically just had a generic measurement, and we had to go to the manual to find out how much water needed to be added for any specific cooking method. So again, all in all, quality part, poor design, it burned us. So moving along, we have the Mueller, and so we're talking about poor design as it relates to a unit that, you know, is designed to essentially burn you. Well, the Mueller takes it to the next level. Not only is it designed to burn you, but also there's a pin that's built into the actual egg holder that is pretty much hidden in the egg holder. It's a black pin, the rest of the actual lid is black. But when you go to actually grab the egg holder and support the left side of that, that's strategically where they've placed this pin. So I think everybody in our kitchen at least was stabbed with that one time at one point or another. So to me, it's an insane, crazy design flaw. Additionally, on the Mueller, a couple of other points as far as cooking goes. It does not poach, it does not do omelets, which is probably one of its greatest strengths, because most of these other cookers, you know, did not excel in those areas. However, it did turn over the best hard-boiled egg that we got out of our group. I don't know why you would purchase the Mueller, even if it's just for the hard-boiled egg factor, just because of all the downsides in the actual design. So another one of the units that we found that had issues when it came to design as it relates to burning us was the Hamilton. The Hamilton constantly built up a lot of condensation under the lid, and every time you would go to take the lid off, the condensation was dripping on you, it was coming out everywhere. When you would grab the handles were uniquely designed as well to basically allow the water to basically run along the side of the handle, get trapped underneath the handle, and so when you go to pick it up, it burns you. So anytime we were looking at ergonomics and the unit burned us or harmed us, it got dinged pretty good on that. So all in all, Hamilton ergonomics, very poor, but as it relates to cooking, Hamilton produced a great hard-boiled egg, produced a great soft-boiled egg. So if you're in the market for a unit that is kind of to the lower price point, and you're aware of these things such as the handles, you know, building up that hot water on there, then, you know, like the Hamilton did its job across the board. It does not do omelets, and as far as a poached egg, it was probably the middle of the pack. So that summarizes kind of the three units that we were just not too crazy about at all. So moving on to the Maxomatic. The Maxomatic was the cheapest in our group, and so that was kind of probably the biggest surprise as far as the overall quality of the product. The quality of this product compared to the others seemed right up there with the Cuisinart, except for the design got pretty much everything right. The handles worked, they didn't burn you, the handle on the top of the lid was pretty good, the overall design of it was great. So as it relates to that, being it was the lowest price point, that was kind of a surprise. Unfortunately, when it came to the poached egg and the omelet, it didn't do anything right. So with the Maxomatic, it's got all the qualities that are there to make a good cooker. If you can dial in the cook time, you probably have yourself a very low-end priced egg cooker that you can use to get and yield a hard-boiled and soft-boiled egg. So the next one on our list was the Dash. The Dash still on the lower end price point and probably overall our best value. because the Dash actually produced a hard-boiled and a soft-boiled egg that were among the best in the group. When it came to poaching, it actually was able to poach and probably almost close to the best that we actually tested. When it came to the omelet, however, it failed miserably. When it came to the omelet was completely undercooked on the bottom side. The top side was cooked. While it was edible, it's definitely not something that you would serve. The bottom was runny. It just looked disgusting. If we would have left it in the cooker maybe another minute past what the timer said, we probably would have ended up with an okay overcooked omelet like the rest of them. However, we didn't give it a second chance on that. So overall, the Dash, again, probably with the Maximatic, had the best overall design, ergonomics, functionality. They didn't burn you. They weren't too hot to handle kind of thing, right? So all in all, the Dash, pretty solid across the board, except for we weren't able to get, and yield an omelet out of there that was worthwhile. All right, and then that brings us to our winner, the Copper Chef. The Copper Chef across the board excelled at almost every one of the tests that we put it through, and surprisingly, it actually produced an omelet that was a little bit more than edible. So we call that a win, I think, in this case. It was nowhere close to the omelet of our control group, but all in all, it was definitely something that was worth eating. So when it came to the hard-boiled egg test, it did about the best in the group. I would say that the only knock, I think, on the Copper Chef's hard-boiled egg is that when we loaded it up to maximum capacity, which is 14 eggs, it was a little bit difficult to peel the shell on some of the eggs. So that's an amazing feature that, it's the only one in our group that produces that quantity of eggs. And so if you're looking for something that is going to produce, for like a party or something like that, where you can just, do a quick sitting while you're getting ready, then the Copper Chef is definitely going to be your pick. When it came to soft-boiled eggs, it did among the best in the group there as well. It was slightly undercooked, but all in all, it was just as good probably as the Dash. Maybe a little less perfect than the Dash, because the Dash came through as like an absolute 5-star. When it came to the poached egg, this thing was really close to the control group, the closest in the group. So that's pretty much like an excellent rating as far as creating the poached egg. So here's the thing with the Copper Chef, though. Each one of these cooking processes that you're going to do with the Copper Chef, it's going to be up to you to keep the temperature and the time because there's no timer. So I think that on behalf of Copper Chef's design in this area, they were pretty smart in that one of the main downfalls to all these cookers that failed in our testing was the time. Based on the way that these things work, you add the water, once the water evaporates, the timer goes off. So basically they're assuming that, like once that water evaporates, that your eggs are going to be to the point where you were looking to have them, whether it be the poached egg, the cooked egg, and that's all based on the measuring cup and the levels that they actually tell you to fill the water for that particular cooking process. So with that being said, there's a lot of factors that can affect the amount of condensation that are building up or the amount of water that's building up there at the bottom of the pan. And so these factors are going to be maybe the difference between 1 to 2 to 3 minutes of cooking time, which means that you're looking at maybe on a soft-boiled egg, you're looking at like now a medium-boiled egg based on the additional 1 or 2 minutes because of the different environmental factors that added or created more moisture within that unit. So with the Copper Chef, they basically tell you, hey, here's a recommended time based on this type of, like cooking process and these many eggs that you add in there. And then again, it's kind of up to you to monitor and to decide, okay, is it, 10 minutes or is it 12 minutes? Their manual kind of outlines a couple of recommendations. With the hard-boiled eggs, they say like 18 to 23 minutes. Well, pretty big window in there. So I don't know if when we pulled out the hard-boiled egg, if we were just more lucky as far as the time that we, chose. I think we did the maximum 23 minutes. So we let it go for that maximum time frame before we pulled our hard-boiled egg and produced a great hard-boiled egg. But again, if the idea for you to purchase this is a set it and forget it method, then our winner, the Copper Chef, might not be your choice just because of the fact that you're practically still cooking, right? So then I would say if you're looking for that set it and forget it method, sacrifice the extra eggs that you can cook in the Copper Chef and go with the Dash. Because that one is solid hard-boiled, solid soft-boiled egg. We assume it's going to do a good medium-boiled as well. Alright, so I hope you found this test kitchen helpful. If you'd like to continue following us for our videos, down below, subscribe, like. Check out that full article if you want to get any of the other details on there. And then again, if you're going to purchase any of these egg cookers, down below, if you click and buy from that link, that's going to support us and continue helping us make these videos. Alright, we'll see you next time.